Directed by Louis Farinella, Nightnight Nancy blew up on YouTube, receiving over 3 million views, and it was uploaded in 2015. It features our main character, Nancy, waking up after receiving a text from her boyfriend. She then checks the pictures on her phone and notices that there are images of her sleeping that appear to be recent. She assumes that someone may be in her house and decides to look around. We soon find out that her assumptions are correct. Director Lee Box Leitner was featured in our last list for Bringing Us Downstairs, a 17-minute short film that was extremely well put together. He returns on this list with a shorter project he created called Daddy. Our main character, Paul, is woken up by his daughter Charlotte, who is calling his name. However, he strangely seems to be terrified by this and refuses to respond. We find out why that is the case when he receives a call that snaps him out of this strange state.
Daddy, you're being silly.
Paul?
Anna?
Paul? Paul, what's wrong?
I'm sick, Anna.
Are you home?
It's Charlotte.
Jesus Christ, Paul.
She's here.
Stop it! You have to stop it, Paul. I can't fucking handle it anymore. She's dead, Paul. Our daughter's dead.
Directed by Casey LaRose, After Hours is an award-winning short film released in 2016 that features a video editor who stays in her office after everyone leaves in order to continue working. She falls asleep but is awoken by a noise that she chooses to investigate. She quickly realizes that someone or something is in the building with her, and the movie does a great job of making this intruder's presence very unnerving and noticeable.
Who's there?
Directed by Joshua Curtis and Doug Vandergrift Jr., Blackout is a short film released in 2015 that gives the viewer an impressive and terrifying cinematic experience. The project is done completely in first person and has a minimal amount of scenes helped by some great transitions that makes the movie's flow feel seamless. It features our main character waking up in the middle of the night because of a storm. We can see some kind of a monstrous creature appear at certain parts of the piece, before eventually there is a blackout in the character's house and some strange events begin to occur. Directed by Crystal Pastis, Vanilla Cake is a psychological short film released in 2016 that centers around a mother and a son who have a complicated relationship. The son's father has passed away, and while he seems to be mourning his death, his mother doesn't seem to care at all, so much so that she insults him many times in the movie. The son evidently has a large amount of pent-up aggression towards his mother because of this, and the vanilla cake that she gets him for his birthday serves as the final straw for the son. It's very unnerving and will surprise you a number of times as it features a number of well put together twists and turns.
This is vanilla.
You wouldn't believe what Betty Crocker called for. 3 sticks of butter. Can you imagine living with ourselves if we ate that kind of cake?
I wanted chocolate.
She probably has no social life, all that cake. I wonder if her husband left her. Poor woman.
I told you I wanted chocolate.
Go ahead and cut it.
Is it too much trouble to have a fucking chocolate cake on my fucking birthday?
Directed by Ben Franklin and Anthony Melton, The Birch is an award-winning short film released in 2017 that features some top-notch cinematography and special effects. The film's story is about a young schoolboy who is relentlessly bullied by one individual in particular. While this is happening, the boy's grandmother, who may also be his guardian, passes away, but not before leaving him a book and explaining to him that she will protect you. Now, we don't know who she is at first, but the boy is told to go to the forest and look for her symbol. Unfortunately, he encounters the bully there, and this is where we find out that the she in question is a creature known as the Birch.
He who breaks me shall come undone. Good children with love in their hearts will be helped by her. Birch.
Directed by John Wynne, The Passing is a film released in 2014 that stars YouTuber and actress Lana McKissack. The story centers around 2 police officers who were sent in to investigate a mysterious, abandoned-looking house. It's here that they find Laura, an injured woman who states that she's trying to contact her daughter. Throughout the movie, we get flashbacks that further explain the story, and as one of the officers speaks to Laura, the other explores the house, only to find out that it's more than just an abandoned residence. The cinematography, special effects, and storytelling techniques are all top-notch, and the project manages to be consistently scary and unnerving whilst also building up to a terrifying conclusion.
Do you know how hard it is to raise a child? Tell her I'm different now. Tell her Mommy's ready to be good.
No.
What do you mean, no? You don't get to take that
from me! Hang on, I'm on my way. Ma'am, I need you. Williams, in the attic. Found the girl.
You're gonna die.
Directed by Banu Pradip Singh, Lex Talonis is an Indian horror movie released in 2016 that is based around the title of the movie. Lex Talion is a Latin expression that defines the law of retaliation. In principle, what it means is what comes around goes around, and that is exactly what happens in this project. The story begins with two henchmen who are bringing a body to an abandoned house. Through a conversation with one another, we learn that it's the body of a man who wouldn't change his testimony, even after they killed his wife. However, we learn early on that the man actually isn't dead. He escapes into the abandoned house, and soon after this, an array of strange and freaky events begin to occur. The man understandably believes that he is being targeted by whatever is doing this, but we soon learn that that is not the case. The henchmen, on the other hand, aren't so lucky.
Gopal? Gopal? Hey? Gopal?
Directed by Dustin Demerit, Speechless is a short film released in 2017 that has a fantastic concept and story developed by Dan Dark. It features a young boy who is woken up by a noise. He realizes that something is trying to open his door, and cleverly decides to try and communicate with whatever it is by passing a note under the door. This results in a very unsettling back and forth between the young child and the mysterious character behind his door. After this goes on for a while, the boy's mother comes in and is angry at the fact that the child still believes in the impossible. Except we find out shortly after this that it is far from impossible. The storytelling is simplistic but very effective, and whilst most child actors can be a horror movie's downfall, the star, Ryan Craig, gives a very convincing and confident performance.
I can't handle you when you're like this. Get back in bed and go to sleep. I don't want to hear another word.
Written and directed by Colin Krawchuk, On My Way was released in 2016 by Make Do Entertainment and is easily one of the most ambitious short films I've seen in years. It's a simplistic enough plot that consists of a man making his way to a Halloween party. On the way, he is texting a girl that is more than likely the main reason he's attending the party. Their text conversations can be seen on screen, which is used as a handy tool to help move the film along. The man soon realizes that there's something wrong with the town he's driving in, as every few minutes he experiences weird encounters with freaks and strangers alike. The project is especially impressive as it's done in one continuous 6-minute shot, and it still feels like it's moving smoothly with the help of some great camera work by Mike Sheffield. The acting, sound effects, and makeup are all fantastic, and the movie does a great job of scaring the viewer on almost a constant basis. Micus is a movie that was released in 2018 and features a character named Pete who is going through some of his childhood belongings. He discovers an old figure that he seemingly made out of paper that appears to be called Micus. It's evident that Micus was Pete's imaginary friend when he was a child, and it might be for this reason that he decides to place Micus on his wall. However, some strange and bizarre things start to happen after he does this, and Pete realizes that Micus might not be as friendly as he remembers. Still was a short film that was released on Crypt TV's YouTube channel on the 15th of December 2017. It features a woman who is drawing alone in a rural house when she hears a knock on the door. She decides to go check what it is, and unfortunately for her, she finds a note on the ground that says, "You left the back door open." The rest of the movie is an eerie and suspenseful experience that is definitely worth watching. The music is great and so is the acting, and the piece does a great job of making you feel on edge for the entire 6 minutes.
I've got a knife.
Burrows is a film that was released in 2017 that features a unique and intriguing story that revolves around a young man who is woken up in the middle of the night by a knock. He hears a voice from the other side of the door and talks to it. The voice becomes more and more frantic and eventually starts knocking on the door loudly until it abruptly stops. The man decides to check outside and doesn't see anybody, but this is when we see the story come full circle. The name of the movie comes from a Greek symbol that shows a serpent eating its own tail, and when you watch the film, you realize that it is a fitting title.
Oh, shit. Hey, the door's shut and I can't get back in.
Do I know you?
Wait. Who are you?
Look, I'm not in the mood to play riddles.
What? Open the door! Open the door! Open the door!
This short movie was released in the summer of 2016 and stars a small girl who hears a noise in her house and decides to investigate. She finds a balloon and soon realizes that there is a whole trail of balloons leading to the kitchen. In the kitchen, she finds what we can assume is the Smiling Man, a terrifying looking man who seems frantic and insane. The man attempts to play several games with the young girl before the big reveal at the end of the movie. The practical effects in this are great, and the acting from the Smiling Man is both captivating and terrifying. Friendrequest is a film released in 2012 that centers around a young woman named Heather. While she is in her apartment, she gets a friend request from somebody named Ben who messages her and the two begin talking. At first, the conversation is normal enough, but Heather later checks her laptop and sees that she has over 100 messages and notifications from Ben. The messages take a sinister turn, so Heather decides to delete him. This turns out to be a mistake. The movie only has one setting, which is Heather's apartment, but it uses the internet to tell most of the story, which turns out to be an effective tool to creep out its viewers. The Jester is a short horror movie that was released in October of 2016 by Make Do Entertainment, who were actually featured on our last list. The movie centers around a man who is walking down the street when he comes across a masked man who begins performing magic tricks. These tricks take a sinister turn, and the man begins to get scared about what could potentially happen in this exchange, as the masked person is beginning to act stranger and stranger. The cinematography and acting are great in this movie, and the way that the card tricks are incorporated are a nice touch. The movie gets increasingly more intense and scary as it goes on, and it manages to stay consistently entertaining throughout the 10-minute watch time. Another movie that was featured on Crypt TV, Cured, is a bizarre short film released in 2017 that centers around a woman who has been possessed by a demonic entity. In order to get rid of this entity, a mysterious surgeon performs an exorcism on her. The premise is quite simple, but the way that they deliver it is the selling point for the piece. The cinematography is top-notch, and so are the special effects. The film does a great job at being consistently unnerving and creepy, even at points where you think it wouldn't be. Small things like the woman being brought into the operating room and the surgeon prepping for his operation are weirdly eerie. If you're looking for a gory and intense short movie, this is the one for you. You more than likely recognize the title of this short film, as it is based on one of the most popular creepypastas ever made. The Russian sleep experiment tells the story of 5 political prisoners who are subjected to an experiment where they are placed inside of a sealed chamber that releases a gas that forces them to stay awake. The experiment quickly takes a dark turn, and the subjects begin to develop serious mental issues and eventually begin to act extremely violently. After the story was released, many fan-made pieces of content were made, but this short film, released in 2017, became one of the most popular after it amassed almost 5 million views in a little over a year. The movie is almost half an hour long, and it does a great job of visualizing the story. We get to know the prisoners, and we can also get a great glimpse into the experiment and why it's happening. When the dark turn occurs, we see the prisoners lose their minds, and the acting makes it feel very authentic. Overall, it's a great fan-made movie, and it's easy to see why it became so popular.
Felix! I demand the papers removed from the window! Felix! Remove the paper! Felix!
SLUT is a short film released in 2014 that won the Best Student Short at Screamfest. The movie centers around Maddie, who is a 16-year-old social outcast who lives with her disabled grandmother, who she also takes care of. In order to get some more attention from the people in her small town, she decides to dress in more revealing clothes, because that's what the most popular girl in town does. Unfortunately, she ends up attracting the wrong kind of people. The cinematography is great, the acting is top-notch, and the ideas that they managed to come up with for this movie are some of the most original concepts that I've seen in a long time.
End of the line, honey. I don't know if anybody's ever told you this before, darling. But half the fun's the chase. Girls like you just make it too damn easy. You ready for another ride?
Internet Story is a short film that was uploaded on the 17th of October 2011. The movie tells the tale of an online competition that very little people paid attention to, but it did catch the eye of a YouTube user known as Fortress, who decides to partake in the competition and document his experience. The movie differs from all of the other projects on this list because of the way it tells its story. It doesn't use expensive cameras or special effects, instead it simply uses the internet and some homemade videos to tell you the narrative, and it is incredibly effective. Adam Butcher manages to create an amazing and engaging story that is full of twists and turns. I won't say anything more about this movie as I fear I might give something vital away, and seeing as almost all of the scenes contain some pretty important plot points, I won't be showing you a clip either. Instead, I'm just going to highly recommend that you watch it and show it some well-deserved love.